It's like it actually doesn't do anything. It's like your build is exactly the same regardless. Hey, it looks like a probe here gonna go to the natural and do a little block in action. Oh, we're gonna have a duel here. Probes do beat drones 1v1, so that's gonna have to run away. Yep, he is gonna run away. It's actually the opposite of StarCraft 2, by the way. In StarCraft 2, if a drone and a probe duel each other, the drone actually wins because the shields don't regenerate on the probe until like you're not being attacked. But in Brood War, your shields always regenerate, so probes are better. Man, that was one of the most jarring things to me when I started playing PvZ in SE2. I would just like right-click a drone with my probe, and then my probe would die, and I'd be like, what? What just happened? Why is my probe inferior? I mean, just look at this drone. Alright, why should probes be inferior to drones? They're so much cuter. They're so much cooler than drones are. They're cute little mechanical kittens, and drones are like horrible creatures that have acid spit. Like, ugh, they should make probes stronger. Anyway. I wasn't paying attention to the builds. But I mean, it was a Forge Fast expand from Stork, doing kind of a nice little wall up there actually. It is kind of tricksy to wall in on this map. Actually, I think one of the early changes, modifications made to this map was to make it easier for Protoss to wall in certain positions. I think the 5 o'clock natural in particular was very difficult to wall properly, so they just changed the map a little bit to help out the Protoss buddies. In the meantime, Probe Guy is going to scout the scan around the base, sees the back mirror only. I think he saw that before already though. I'm fairly certain he did. And in the meantime, I'm just going to keep running around here. He sees the lair finish. There's only 2 Zerglings made for Hiva. So let's see what Stork does. Oh, it looks like he made a second set of Zerglings. Stork's still content with just a single cannon here. And he's actually going for a fast robo here, so it looks like Stork is going to be going for some Corsair Reaver action. One of my absolute favorite strategies to both watch and, well, not just to watch, not to play, because it's actually an extremely APM intensive strategy. Very difficult to pull off mechanically, so yeah, I can't do it, but but it's really cool to watch though. It's really cool to watch, and we do see +1 air weapons on the way, so it's definitely going to be Corsair Reaver. So basically, the principle is you make a bunch of Corsairs, and you use those as your anti-air to protect your shuttle from Mutas and Scourge, and then you fly around with your shuttle and your Reaver, and you kill stuff. It's pretty simple. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. And of course, since Reavers are one of the most awesome units in the game, this strategy is pretty baller. But yeah, the reason it's so mechanically intensive is that you need to basically babysit your Corsairs and your shuttle. So you need to constantly be switching between, you know, your Corsair / shuttle force and your main base to keep macroing. And so, like, a lot of times you'll see, you know, less skilled players who try and do the strategy will end up with a lot of money banked because they just can't macro at the same time while microing their Corsairs and their shuttle. Because, you know, if you look away for just, 5 seconds, your Corsairs could get slightly out of position and your shuttle just could get scourged and you instantly lose the game. It's a very delicate strategy. But it's so powerful when done correctly. Now, the Zerg response to this is generally to take a lot of expansions very quickly. There's no super effective way for them to counter it. I mean, the mass Corsairs are so effective against Mutas and Scourge, so all they can really do is make a lot of Hydralisks to help defend. Stork, by the way, is trapping his own probe back there, so he can use it to stack the Corsairs. But yeah, so Zerg doesn't have a super cost-efficient way of defending. They just have to make a ton of stuff. And also, but the thing is, when you go for Corsair Reaver, you don't really have a substantial ground force. The Corsairs and Reavers and the Reaver tech are both quite expensive, so you're not going to have a ton of gateways to be able to do any kind of big attack with. So Zerg basically just takes a lot of expansions, makes a lot of Hydras and drones, and then it's just like, well, you're probably, if you're good, you're going to do damage to me. But I'm just gonna have so much extra stuff that even if you do, even if you kill 1 expansion, I'll just make 3 more, and then I'll just win anyway. So that's usually the deal. It's almost similar to what Zergs do against Terran Mech, where you just can't engage cost efficiently, so you just out macro your opponent. Anyway, it looks like he has gone for a lot of Scourge. Now, he's gonna have to be careful that if he can get a good a good flank, a good surround on the Corsairs, he can do a lot of damage, because of course the reason Corsairs are usually effective against the air is because they do splash damage in the air. So if the Scourge clump up too much, then he'll just kill them all at once. But if he can get a good angle here, then it might be effective. And Stork is only moving out with 4 or 5 Corsairs here, so I think it's probably enough to one-shot a Scourge. but you know, if the Scourge come in from multiple angles, then he's gonna have a hard time here. So let's see what happens. Meanwhile, Stork is going to be a little bit aggressive with these 3 Zealots, but a few Hydralisks already out on the map, so Stork is going to pull these back. They are slow Zealots, though, so they might even get picked off before they can get back home. But here we go, a shuttle moving out. I do believe that shuttle does have the speed upgrade, and no, it looks like he decides to go home here. I'm not sure. He needs to go and do some damage, because Hiva's already taken his 4th base, and he's got a ton of drones, in fact, so, you know, Stork needs to do some damage. Stork is, you know, thinking about planning his back minner only. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's opting for the strategy. But oh my god, Scourge! Getting a few hits here. I think he only lost 1 Corsair, but he does take a couple of hits on some other ones. Plus 1 attack for those Corsairs is finished, as we saw there. But yeah, oftentimes like Corsair Reaver is generally a very popular strategy when there's like safe back expansions that you can take, or island expansions, because, you know, as I said before, you don't have a big ground army to help defend, a more risky expansion. So ideally there's going to be islands or these kinds of protected expansions in your main base. Like one map where we saw the strategy a lot was Andromeda, which had both a back expansion, kind of, and an island, and a couple of islands, so it was really good. Meanwhile, the drop's going back here, and it looks like he might actually lose his Spire here. Unfortunate Spire placement for Hiva here. I mean, you know, we can see that Stork having gone for Corsair Reaver makes this a horrible Spire placement, but normally this would be quite a protected location back here at the Mineral Only Expo, and also making it difficult for the pros to scout that Spire. Hydra's coming back here, but I mean, Stork basically just traded 2 Zealots for a Spire. That's a really nice trade. And he's actually going to drop a DT here. Stork doing some really, really clever moves here. That's really nice. And look at this. Hiva has no idea this is coming. That DT could get a lot of drone kills before Hiva notices anything is amiss. I wouldn't even thought of this. I mean, you know, since you have that shuttle already, it is common to transition into some kind of DT drop after going for a fast Reaver, but just to immediately bring the DT over and pick those up while distracting with the Reaver at the 3rd base, or the 4th base. Look at this, the DT in the main base getting so many kills. Of course, you do not get a notification that your units are under attack when a Dark Templar is one-shotting the drones. It's going to kill every single drone in the main base. Hiva is not paying attention. 13 kills on the Dark Templar. Can it get all the gas drones as well? It's going to go up to 16 kills. Hiva is in so much trouble. He did get Burrow, by the way. Burrow, a very nice upgrade to get when your opponent is going for Sayle Reaver, but it looks like he's going to get the shuttle. Hiva gets the shuttle. The Corsairs were not in position, and even though the Corsairs come back to defend the shuttle, he does manage to kill most of the Corsair fleet. Although, no, it looks like about 4 Corsairs maybe do remain. I don't know if that's enough. Is that enough to one-shot a probe? Or, not a probe, a Scourge, rather. It doesn't even matter, though, because Hiva's lost like 1,000,000 drones. He's lost 1,000,000 drones. I mean, he also got a big Reaver shot at that 4th base. So I think in total, Hiva must have lost like 20 drones. And oh my goodness, his Hydra is getting stuck here at the back. Of course, there are pathing issues here, where basically if there's a neutral building like that, like those power generators at the back, Brood War AI doesn't take that into account when it's like determining the pathing, so it tries to send the Hydras through the building, even though that's not possible. Man, could you imagine if in StarCraft 2, like, the AI didn't know that destructible rocks block units? So every time there's like destructible rocks on the map, your units just keep running into them like idiots? Oh man, that would be pretty funny actually. Somebody should make a mod that just like messes up the AI so your units do retarded things and just see what happens to SC2. I'm sure you get some pretty fantastic games. Anyway, it looks like Hiva just now remaking his Spire. It's funny because, you know, he had a bunch of Scourge, he killed a bunch of Corsairs, but now he doesn't have a Spire, so he can't actually make Scourge anymore. Although it looks like Stork has basically transitioned out of the Corsair Reaver build, has gone into a big Grand Army, and this is why, you know, it takes someone of Stork's caliber to really pull this strategy off effectively. Because, you know, if this was any, you know, lower tier Protoss player, I can guarantee you they wouldn't have all of this infrastructure, all of this Grand Army up right now. It's just so hard to be doing that. I mean, think about it. He was multitasking like crazy. He's sending the DT into the main base, doing Reaver harassment at the 4th base, and adding all those gateways and macroing up a Ground Army at the same time. It's just so difficult to do. And this is why Stork is one of the #1 players in the world, and one of my favorite players of all time. So, looks like Stork going for a 4th base here at the 3 o'clock. By the way, the Corsairs just now were patrolling kind of at the left side of his main base to stop any big drops going to the main. That is a bit of a risk you run on this map, or on any map really, is a big doom drop into your main. And if you've invested in the Corsairs already, might as well you know, keep using them. Meanwhile, Stork keeping these Reavers as part of his army, and it looks like though we might have a big engagement. No, Stork is just going to run away. Oh, nice storms on the approaching Hydras as they try and chase him down here. I thought Stork could have actually taken that engagement. I'm a little surprised that he ran away there. This is just such a powerful unit composition with those High Templars supporting, with the Reavers especially. It's, you know, it's not that common to have Reavers in this mid-game Protoss army, but Reavers are just so strong against Zerg ground units of all kinds. You just need a couple, a few units to buffer and tank damage for them, and then they will do so much damage out for you. In the meantime, it looks like a huge counterattack here coming for Hiva, trying to take down this 4th base. Is it going to be enough? Looks like the Lurkers, though, get a bit ahead of themselves. The Lurkers have no Hydra support. The Hydras are in the back. Oh man, the Lurkers all going to go down here, taking down these numbers of Zells, and storm on the bridge. The Hydras running into the Valley of Death there. This is not working at all for Hiva. He's lost most of his Lurkers, and Hydras alone are not going to break this force with those 2 Reavers there to support. Even if Stork no longer has any storms, it doesn't matter. Those Reavers are just going to do so much damage. In the meantime, the Observer is showing us that Hiva's staying on Lair Tech here. I think that's what he's trying to show us. I think Hiva, I don't know, he's not expanding anymore. He's not teching up. Like he's almost as if he's going semi all-in on 4 bases. I don't know if you can call it an all-in when you're on 4 bases, but you know, he's not thinking about any kind of transition at the moment. He's just really trying to punish these the expansion of Stork. But I really don't think that's going to work. I mean, as you can see, this 3 o'clock base is fairly close to your natural, so Stork can keep moving back and forth between the natural and this 4th base. You know, this actually reminds me a lot of StarCraft 2 ZVP right now, where, you know, the Zerg makes a lot of roaches in the mid game, and if Protoss tries to take a fast 3rd base, then the Zerg keeps, you know, attacking both sides at once and forcing the Protoss army to move back and forth. This actually looks very, very similar, but of course, oh my god, what the shuttle! The shuttle gets taken down. I think it actually has its Reavers in it. Oh man, a big mistake there from Stork. It must have had both Reavers in it, because I didn't see the Reavers get taken down, and actually Hiva might break through the middle here. He's got Lurkers in good position now, but there's still a lot of Dragoons. Are there any more Storms? There's no more Storm. The High Templar gets sniped, but no, it looks like Stork does have enough ground forces. And he's still up at 120 supply against the 80 supply of Hiva. Hiva not completely dead yet. And, oh, I'm sorry, no, it looks like the Reavers are actually just chilling in the back. Alright, so the shuttle died, but that's just chilling there. Anyway, X-Back, please be chill in the chat. Don't over-abuse the moderator powers. Please be kind to our new SC2 buddies. Anyways, Stork having a pretty nice advantage now. 150 supply against not even 100 supply for Hiva. Yeah, he's taking the top left natural now as his 5th base, but that is so slow compared to Stork's 4th. So I'm not. I don't know. I mean, you know, I think it was a good idea. Oh, but all that thought. Oh, shuttle! Whoa! Sick reaction time from Stork. Did you guys see that? He's like, oh my god, Hydralisks, I better run away. It is possible though that he had the shuttle on patrol. There is one trick that you can do. Oh, it's actually just a Zealot drop. Okay, so it wouldn't have been a big deal anyway if you lost a shuttle. But one trick you can do with your shuttle is if you use the patrol command to move it instead of the just right-clicking, then your shuttle will automatically turn away if it gets attacked. So like if I wanted to right-click, if I just right-click it across the map and it runs into Hydralisks, it'll just die. And whoa, looks like the Zealots in the main base, they're distracting Hiva long enough for him to not cancel that hatchery. But yeah, I recommend to people who don't really have pro gamer level reaction time to always use patrol instead of right click on their shuttles, and that'll save you a few shuttle mishaps. But anyway, looks like a big ground engagement here. Hiva's units are out of position, and he just doesn't have many of them in the first place anyway. It looks like he's entirely got Hydras. No, he's got a few Lurkers in the back, but he needs more Lurkers here. He needs those beefy Lurkers. Looks like the shuttle gets taken down. He's going to start focusing down the Reavers as well. Wow, nice job actually by Hiva to take down those Reavers before they can do too much damage, but is it going to be enough? A lot of Protoss ground units still remaining here. All the Lurkers, crucially, do get cleaned up. They did kill most of the Zealots, but is it going to be enough? Stork continuing to push through here, and it looks like it's not quite going to be enough. It looks like the tables have turned here. Hiva's now the one on the defensive. Stork is the aggressor. Looks like Hiva was trying to snipe some of those observers, but then he just lost his Overlord there. Stork looking very stoic there as he just dismantles this Zerg. Meanwhile, it looks like a hidden expansion going down at the bottom right for Hiva at the main base there. So like, yep, there it is. Taking a sneaky expo considering the one at the top left got killed. Yeah, and I don't think it really has the forces to just, you know, take take a closer fifth and actually defend it properly. Meanwhile, the Observer showing us still no signs of hive tech or anything. Hiva staying on this layer level Hydra Lurker tech, which I don't know. I don't think that's going to be, you know, while that's good, while it's generally, you know, the standard composition in the mid game. Once the Protoss gets up a decent number of, you know, a decent amount of High Templar and Dragoons and all those nice splashy units, it's pretty difficult to make it cost efficient in those huge engagements. Because the problem is, like, when you're in the mid game level where you have, you know, like 80 to 100 supply or 120 supply of units, you get a good engagement in the middle of the map, you can still spread out your Hydras and stuff, minimize the splash damage from Storm and whatnot, and your units can be effective. But the problem is, if you like max out on Hydra Lurk, I mean, it's unlikely to happen, but, you know, if you get, like, a really large Hydra Lurk army going into the mid/late game, it's very hard to actually spread out your units enough. Your Hydras will inevitably just clump up a lot and then just take maximum damage from Storms and Reavers. So that's why generally you see the transition into higher tech units. And of course, you know, like, you know, high tech units like Defilers and Ultimates and whatnot are just very good as well. So, yeah. Well, I think it's I don't think it's necessarily a mistake by Hiva. I think that's a conscious decision where he's decided I don't actually have the time or the resources to invest in going for hive tech. I need to actually just make something happen right now. And he's kind of just gotten into this rut where, you know, he had a nice timing there where he was putting a lot of pressure on Stork and he was trying to kind of at least take down that 3 o'clock expansion with that big Hydra Lurk army. And then when it didn't happen, he decided, well, now I have to keep making these because otherwise I'll die. So it's kind of like, you know, a vicious cycle where he can now never tech up. Meanwhile, Stork going into the 9 o'clock base here with a big army. The Templars leading, doing some nice storms. Looks like he actually kills his own observer with a storm, but he does have a second observer. There's so many High Templar, so many psionic storms, and it looks like Hiva is just going to go counter. Is he going to counter, or is he going to try and hit the army from the back? Looks like he's just going to go counter the 12 o'clock expansion. He's just going to trade, do a base trade here, but no, it looks like Stork realizes what's happening, decides he does not want a base trade, and is bringing his main army back here. Interesting that Hiva actually decided to attack a closer an expo that was close to the Protoss army instead of going for something, excuse me, like the 3 o'clock expansion. I guess he assumed that Stork would just commit to the attack and not come home, but looks like we are just going to have an engagement here. The Hydras getting picked off while there's a Reaver drop going on. Look at this multitasking from Stork. There's a huge army engagement in the map, and yet he's doing a Reaver drop at the same time. And boom. Nice burrow there, though, by Hiva. Of course, without an observer there, the Reaver can't actually kill any more drones. Although the splash damage will still hit the burrowed units, so like if he hits a sunken that's near burrowed drones, it'll kill more drones. But oh my god, Stork doing some insane Reaver harassment. Of course, Stork known for his Reaver control, but it looks like a big Zerg attack going in here into the natural. This could be the last hurrah for Hiva, trying to make something happen. The main Protoss army is coming home to defend. Hiva does not really have many units left, and looks like actually no, Stork decides that he's going to have enough from his reinforcements, from his gateways to stop that. He's just going for Hiva's base, going to intercept some of these reinforcements in the middle of the map. The Dragoons taking down most of the units, and GG from Hiva. Stork just taking Hiva apart with his Corsair Reaver play into nice, well, into just pretty standard, you know, giant gateway unit army play, but with some nice Reavers sprinkled in there for flavor. I like it. I like it. So yeah, that is going to tie up the series 1-1, and we will go to a third and deciding game to see who's going to take the Brood War best of 3 part of this series, and then after that we will watch some StarCraft 2. So, who's going to come out to take the set for their team?
그리고 더군다나 이 송병구 허영무 선수가 좀 최근에 그렇게 분위기가 좋지 않았었어요, 프로리그에서. 근데 오늘 경기를 잡아내면서 삼성전자 칸이 프로토스의 그 실력이, 그러니까 그 성적이 좀 좋아져야 한다는 거에 대한 부응을 했고, 두 번째로는 이 맵에서의 전적이 굉장히 안 좋았거든요. 후보전과 예전, 그러니까 현재 버전을 합쳐가지고 3승 14패였어요, 맵이. 그렇게 안 좋았던 맵에서 승리를 거뒀다는 점, 그리고 전반전에 마지막 끝까지 이어갔다는 점 모두 다 정말 웃을 수 있는 일입니다.
자, 이렇게 송병구 선수가 승리를 거두면서 1대1 전반전 승부나지 않았고요. 잠시 후 세 번째 세트.
Yep, the third game. There's going to be one more brutal game to decide this, and then a SC2 best of 3, and then an SC2 ace match if necessary. once again, we just have the splash screen. Man, they showed the ads there for a second. I don't know why they don't just like keep showing it. What? Just keep playing it, man. Come on, generate that ad revenue. That ad revenue. Anyway, thank you guys all for tuning in to today's cast. And oh, if you missed any of the weekend matches,